Hi everyone, welcome back to our Note to Self podcast. I'm your host today, Andrea, and who else is in the house today?
Hi, I'm Natalia. I'm in the house today.
Hi, I'm Shy. I'm in the house today. Hi everyone, I'm Valeria and I'm also in the house today.
Nice. Okay, so today the settings is a little bit different, and we would definitely love you guys to see the YouTube channel so that you can grasp more about like what we're talking, or else you'll be like, what are they talking about? Like what? Okay, so before we dive in, let's do a quick check-in about like our general like life. How has you guys like the semester been so far, and any highlights or wins that you want to share with the listeners?
Kidding. I can start. My semester has been really chaotic. Like really chaotic. Let's just put that in the. I would explain it a little bit later because it's connected to the topic. It's like just a lot of things are going a little bit up and down. So especially with my academics, but like and yeah, but it's just really chaotic. One highlight and one win that I had this semester is that I have been part of ASOC. I mean, I was in ASOC ever since like last semester, but I'm in a branch. We do not call them just a branch. I'm in a branch of ASOC, and now I'm a senator of ASOC, which is like I'm really happy that I get to reach more students and advocate for student voices.
Oh, nice. How about you guys?
I think my school year is going pretty far. I mean, pretty well so far. uh, yeah, it's going like pretty good. I will say, I think the first semester here of like my second year, I was just like adapting to everything, and there was like a lot of everything was like very new, a lot of new opportunities, and then now I'm just like kind of more in the thick of stuff, and I definitely have to balance like a lot of different responsibilities, like with step up and then like club things, and then also like my academics, and I kind of been neglecting that a little bit, so it's been kind of difficult just like managing everything. But I'd say I think I'm doing okay so far, and I'm very confident in myself that I'll be able to finish things on time. So like it's I think I'm like good right now. Like I'm in a pretty good space. And something I want to highlight, I guess, is that hmm, I guess like our health fair. I'm really looking forward to that.
Promo.
Yeah, promo. I think it'll this episode will probably be out after our health fair. So if you guys attended, thank you for coming. But I'm really excited about that, and I think it's like one of my highlights because I actually volunteered to be like one of the co-leads for it, and it was definitely something that I kind of like challenged myself to do because I wanted to take on like a leadership opportunity within my workplace, and it taught me a lot of stuff about like leadership and organization and everything, and I'm just really looking forward to our event and working with everyone, and I think all of our health center staff will be there, so I'm really happy that that's coming up next week.
Yeah. For me, I don't want to talk just. I don't want to be super negative, but unfortunately, this past semester and even at my fall semester was just pretty rough. There's a lot of stuff happening at home, and I think just like trying to like manage every day, like being a student, being a sister, being a friend, um, with everything that's going on in the world. I think it's like I we can't really deny or like ignore what's happening, and try to continue our lives like normal, because it's not normal. What's happening is not normal. um and it's definitely been like a journey and an experience, learning to give yourself a like being able to find peace in those in every single day, um and just learning what works for me, and how I can continue to still be present and hold myself accountable, um but there has been a lot of good. I don't want to like to say it's all bad. There's been a lot of good, just like with events, with friends, with family. And the highlight for me, I think, is it personal? It's just like my birthday. I feel like I never really go out for my birthdays. But I definitely wanted to do something with friends this year. And it was just really heartwarming to see how my friends showed up for me, like the lengths they went to. Like I felt very spoiled. Just like being surrounded by people I love. Like it was like what I had planned for that day was just like a little like it was just like a board game night because board game nights with my friends are like some of the best memories I've had. But it was just like cooking together and then playing board games. It was all really nice. There is good in all of this that's happening.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. Mine would be I would say like my semester went well, and especially that I had the opportunity to check off one of my bucket lists, like the task, which I went to like during the spring break. I went to Sonoma to take a ride on the hot air balloon.
Ooh.
That's kind of like the things I really want to try, and I didn't get the opportunity to do that. But yeah, I'm appreciate that I have the chance to ride on that hot air balloon ride, and also I can get to see the sunrise at like the very early morning. And I feel like the moment is really peaceful and calm, especially that's the time when I'm like waiting for my decisions for my master program. And I did really stress a lot about that because like those are the things that you cannot control. And for me, I'm like the person who really likes everything to be organized and go to the way that I expected, which like that's the very first time I experienced like things out of my control, and I'm kind of like learning how to balance the healthy I think boundaries and also healthy coping strategies to just give myself some peace and time, which I'm like happy to have that kind of outcomes. Yep. And thank you guys for sharing. And I really think that a lot of students can relate with that, and especially like we're towards the end of the semester, and it's kind of like a time for us to wrapping up of our growth and our experience in this semester. So today, as you can see on the screen, we have a very special exhibit set up, and we highly encourage you to head over to our YouTube channel to watch the video version so that you can get a better visual of our topic, which is the Failure Museum. And you might be wondering, like, what is a failure museum and why on earth would we choose to talk about this? Well, as a college students, we all been there, right? You have a plan, you have a vision, but sometimes life doesn't go the direction you want, and things happen, right? As the way that you are not expected. And sometimes the emotions are very intense, and we feel a lot of things that happen in our brain, in our mind. And some things, like sometimes that the disappointment is very heavy, that you might not know how to navigate it. And plus, like it might feel, I would say, vulnerable in the way that you sense that, okay, I need to admit that things didn't work out in the way I want to. So I think this is very important for us to like touch on the topic gently, and also have the opportunity to kind of like, because I think for us like generally, usually we hide the failures in our past, right? We don't want to like let other people know about that. But today we are bringing them into the spotlight. How do you guys feel about that?
That's really nice.
Are you guys like feeling excited or a little bit like
I'm,
nervous?
I'm nervous. I'm excited. Let's see how this episode goes.
Nice. Okay, so we're gonna to kick things off. We want to like open the museum for you guys to take a look what's inside in our museum, and you guys can see us here. And the very first questions from me to all of you is what's in your failure museum and what's your thought about it? Maybe it's a specific grade of a subject or a missed opportunity or a personal experience.
That's a really reflective question right there. Okay, I would start. Sorry, what's the first word? Wait, no, what's the first like failure?
Like what's in your
Failure.
museum and
Okay.
what's your thought about it?
One of the things that is in my failure museum, like as of the moment, I wouldn't like. I do have like a lot of failures. Everybody has a lot of failures, and it is like
it is very sad.
Mm-hmm.
But we all need to like sometimes accept the failure. Okay, so a little bit background about me. I'm not a smarty pants, like I'm not a nerd girl, but I try my best to boost my GPA. I try my best to like have good grades. So I've been like that ever since I was taught to be like that. I was just like it was also just expected to be being like that because as an only child, you're the only person that your parents would brag about. So I just had like ever since I was a kid, I would just have this thinking like if I didn't do good in school and class, my parents would be like disappointed and like I'm just gonna be like, there's a lot of pressure. So I try to like strive on that. Connecting to what my failure museum is, like I feel like my failure museum is when I get low grades or when I feel like I disappointed my parents. It was kind of a big thing when I was like a little kid, but growing up they kind of like understood what I'm like trying to like tell them that, oh, it's not this and that. But it's totally a different thing. But moving on, so coming into like spring semester, I'm like overthinking about my grades, even though it's okay. And I'm overthinking of like my transfer credits and because I'm tagging to Davis and I'm like maybe I'm not gonna get into Davis because I haven't completed all the requirements yet, blah blah blah. And me and my partner were like arguing about it. I was like, no, you're gonna be good. He's like, and then here I am like, oh, this and that. So little girl me, not little girl me, little miss me is like, okay, I'm gonna take two bios,
Mm-hmm.
one research, so I could like get it off of my list. And when I apply to transfer, I am more confident that I would get it because I'm already like meeting all of the requirements except one subject. So I did that and I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, I can do it. Like, I can do this. I can do biopsych. I can do like research psych and I can do one more bio. Like, in my head, I can do it. And, and sadly, I was kind of slacking off a little bit in academics. And I was like, there were days, there were weeks that I just really felt I was down. Like, I was like, oh, I'm not doing good in this specific bio because I don't really like bio, guys. I don't like science unless it's a social science. And so I just felt like I failed. I felt like my partner would keep on telling me like, okay, if you feel like this one, like it's okay for you to like drop things. Like it's okay for you to drop this class because you're gonna get a W and it would not affect your grade. It would totally not affect your grade unless you want to C or something like that. It would affect your grade. I'm like, I don't want to C. I don't want this, but I think I can like pull off. Like I think I can like I can pull this off. Like I can still get an A. Blah blah blah. And then I like time goes by. Things are kind of get a little out of like I get busier and busier with the commitments I have out of my classes and this specific bio I don't really like this bio. I hate this bio. I don't like bio. And I was like yesterday I was like after checking everything out and like after pondering it for like over a month. So for like the past few months, you may not have noticed it, but you I would cry constantly because I feel like I'm failing this class and I don't want to fail this class. I don't want to like have a C on my transcript. So I would call off work those some of the days and I would just be in my bed and I was like I don't want to do this anymore. Like I don't want to like cuz I do have okay, so my for my bio like I have like weekly quizzes and then my other bio I have like monthly tests. So sometimes it overlaps with each other, which is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Which is extremely like my brain is like, "Oh, I can't do this."
Mm-hmm.
So, I dropped my bio class, which is a sigh of relief. But do I still think that I failed? Yes, because part of me is like, in high school, I was taking like 9 classes, but I could handle it. Like, why could I not handle like 2, 3 classes and with difficult things? And I'm like, I feel like I failed. I feel like I failed myself. And my parents doesn't know that, obviously. They probably know that already now, but they don't really care. Like right now, they don't really, as long as I pass my grades, they're fine with me. As long as I'm alive, they're fine with me now. But like it just comes with like being pressured when you were a little kid, and then coming back to it right now, and you think to yourself like, oh, I think I failed, but
I feel like my thing in the museum a little bit like similar with yours, cause okay, let me share. I also made something. Just like I have like an A+ sign and also a number 1 sign that is in my museum. The reason why I put these is because um coming from like the background of like Taiwan, like Asian countries, I
yes,
feel like there's a stress of you need to be like the best in like no matter which field. For example, you need to be like the top 1 students, straight A's. Like that's kind of like the expectation that been set that you need to work towards that, or else you would be like a failure. And I did experience a lot of that, and I struggle a lot, and I kind of like have that kind of mentality of academic is the whole thing that it's like the whole thing that about my personal identity. Like if I failed in academic, then I'm like a failure. Like that's all. And I feel like this is kind of hard for me to like think outside of the box because the environment and the cultural expectations are already there, and I was like growing in that kind of environment, and I it's hard to like have a new perspective in the way how we interpret that. And that's kind of like the pressure that's on my shoulder, and I did experience that a lot on like stressing like what if I get like a 3.8 GPA, what if I like failed this class, am I gonna get am I gonna get like the top seats or being able to like walk on the stage to get the award, whatever. Like that's also like my things that in my failure museums. What about you guys?
In my failure museum, I can share a time where I don't know if I necessarily like fully failed, but it was definitely a time where didn't I didn't perform as well as I like wanted to, I guess. So this was my, I think, either sophomore year or junior year. So at my high school we had to take like a media type of class. It's like a, what do you call it? It's like the art class, I guess, if you want to call it that. And I decided to do photography, and I don't really have like too much knowledge about that at all. So I went into the class like with knowing nothing. And the thing is, I think it was kind of like the professor in a way. I don't want to like blame it on the teacher, but just like the way that he was teaching us, it was just not really helping me a lot. And I feel like he wasn't super available as well. Like he was always super busy, and I didn't want to have to ask him so many questions even though I was struggling. And I know specifically, I have like the item here. It was like a few things actually in this class that are pretty difficult. So when you're processing film from like a film camera, you have to go into the dark room and then do like the material or something. You have to put it in like these different washes so that there's probably like 4 or 5, I don't know. People that know photography like can probably correct me on this, but there's like different bats you put it in after you take the photo, and then you have to like let it sit and stuff. And learning that process was like a little bit challenging just because it was something new. Like everything was super new to me, and that's why I was struggling a lot, which is totally normal, but I was like giving myself a hard time for it because we had different assignments. And I remember specifically there's one, or there's like a few actually, that I just like didn't, it took me a while. It definitely took me a few days, longer than I wanted to finish stuff. And we made like a pinhole camera this one time, and basically it's like a camera made out of cardboard.
oh yeah,
Yeah, it's really interesting, like the way the,
does it work?
yeah, it does work. But I guess at the beginning, because it's like a long exposure, and in photography if you have longer exposures it makes the photo blurry if you're not keeping it stationary. And I was holding the thing, so even though I was like trying to be super still, there's still motion happening within the 30 seconds or like the minute that the exposure was happening. And because of that it made all my photos super blurry. And then when I showed my teacher, he was like, oh, like this is really blurry, or like it wasn't really good. So I had to keep trying, and I didn't figure it out that I had to keep it stationary until like maybe like 5 or 6 like photos in. and that was like super challenging. And there's like a bunch of other assignments that I just didn't really do well because everything was super new to me, and I definitely feel like in my mind I failed. And there's like one point I remember where I was just like so frustrated. I literally started crying kind of like in the dark room. Like thankfully it was super dark, so I was like thankfully no one can see me doing this. But I was just like, oh, like I don't think I can do this. Like I won't be able to continue. So that's something that I kind of keep in my failure museum. But I reflect on it in a more positive way now.
I brought my name tag, and I don't want this like this. I feel like I was kind of nervous to bring the name tag, but for me, I don't want to get too into detail about like my background and why this means so much, but just like knowing myself and there's like a community of people just like this, where like
there's a lot of limitation.
Yes, especially when it comes to like work. I'm really, I do want to just like state out that I'm really proud and of myself for being in the position that I am, being a student wellness ambassador at the Step Up program. It's such a privilege, honestly. It really is, especially now in this climate, to have the position that I have. But I see it as like a failure's a big word. Like it carries, it's very heavy, but I kind of do see it a little bit as a failure, and just like how I haven't been able to fulfill the role to the extent that I really wanted to, especially when I first found out that I got the position. Um, I mean, there's still time. There's still time to do the best I can, and I feel like I really been trying to do the best I can the past 2 semesters. Um, but it is really upsetting because I am like I feel very strongly about like promoting mental health and like making sure that people are aware and have the resources that we have available for free, or at like arm's length. And I feel like the vision I had going into this program, um, it just it's not where I wish it was. Just in like in my role of like the impact, and bringing that to my community, especially because I know it's something that like a lot of communities struggle a lot with, especially when we're managing day to day and trying to like be okay with what's happening just like outside of our own personal lives. But it is a really big deal. Like this is opportunity to be a part of something bigger, just like being a part of in a big group, with these goals in mind, especially when it's helping other people. It's just like it's just it's such a good position to be in. It just sucks when like I really don't want to like keep myself stuck in that like mindset of like, I wish I could have done this, and like it's like I just saw it as like wasted potential. And it's really upsetting because it's like it's not a one-time opportunity, but it's like because I feel like there's a lot of positions where you can do the same thing that the SEPA program strives to achieve, but it is just like where I am physically and academically. It's just like it's a bummer, but I'm really happy for what I have been able to do and what I hope to continue to do until the end of the semester.
Yeah, I think we still have time, right? Like we can still do a lot of things for our community, especially in this role as like a student leader. And I think I'm like excited to see what else we can do for our like listeners and our like students at Oloni that we can contribute to, so we can uplifting them, right? And I really appreciate how you guys share like those are the things that are really personal and really makes you feel kind of like weak or vulnerable in a way. And I really appreciate that you guys sharing those experiences and memories. And I think it's really interesting to see like how we keep those memories, and we not only just like keep it, right, we also store it and we revisit it from time to time. And I wonder like why do you keep it like in that the memories in your museum, like why it feels strong for you to like capture it in that moment, and then you continuous having that in your mind.
I think specifically for this, to like kind of expand on my last note, um, because I've struggled a lot with mental health. I feel like a lot of us have, whether we were able to recognize it. Because I remember when I was first like beginning to struggle with it, I really didn't understand what was happening. Like I was like, what's up? Why am I like feeling this way? Why do I feel so heavy all the time? But just having that personal experience, and kind of like through presentations and through the trainings that we've done, it's not an isolated experience. It like your experience may be unique to you, but I feel like all of us have struggled with something at one point or another, no matter how heavy. And I think um, our role in like making sure that people are aware of the resources, and encouraging them to come and seek those resources out, especially if they're really alone, they have no support system, which is another thing, especially when you come from cultural like
Background.
cultural backgrounds where the conversation about mental health is a really difficult conversation to have. Not having that support system at home or with friends, it's really difficult to manage. um, so just like picturing like the community here at Ohlone, the community here at Ohlone struggling with that on their own is it's really upsetting. So just like for me, it was very personal, making sure that my community and other students are aware of like all of the support system that they have here.
That's beautiful. How about you guys?
I can share. Okay, so why do I choose to keep it? First things first, it's really fresh.
Just
But-
come out.
Nah, yeah, but like aside from like my other like aside from this one, that me like it's really fresh. It's just like this semester. Ah, I feel like because I like what Valeria said, like I struggle to like with mental health and I overthink a lot of things and like I I sometimes like there are failures that I experience that I don't keep it. And I kind of formed this habit of letting it go. But there are things that I just couldn't let go because it holds deeply in my heart. Like it either affects me negatively or it affected me in a positive way. By meaning of which it affects me like in a way that I learn from it. Like all our failures, I do think and I do believe that it is like we experience these failures because we have to and we it kind of helps mold us and that's why some people choose to keep it and that's why I choose to keep some of it but like I do just feel like some of my failures I just keep it in like a negative way in the way that I keep it in like I don't know it really like it really broke my heart it really affected me deeply and in a way that I my mental health was like at my lowest and like um there are failures that I and this negative failures is like it's a gradual process of letting it go because like some failures are just like a little bit like we value failures but like it's not that big of a deal or like it's not that very big it's just a minimal so you could like people can easily let it go or I personally can let it go but like there's failures that are really impacted my life and I just hold on to it and it's really bad and but I do give myself like a time to like it's a gradual process it's a gradual process of letting go it's not hard it's not easy to let go of things especially if affected you really bad.
How about you?
I think why I keep my experience of like kind of failing in my photography class in my museum. Ooh, okay. It's just because like it kind of serves as a reminder of the fact that you don't have to be perfect at everything that you do the first time, and that it's okay to be confused and to fail, or to feel like you didn't achieve what you wanted to do. I think just looking back at that experience, it was definitely like it just reminds me that like things are a learning process, and that you don't have to be great at it the first time. I think that's the point. Like being able to struggle is actually pretty good because it shows that you're learning something new and that you're gonna grow out of that experience. So that's kind of like why I just think about that kind of like failure, I guess, and that's why I keep it in my mind.
I like that because I have like the same interpretation on mine, which is like the number one and A plus mindset because I want to serve it as like the reminder of like life isn't just about academic. It's more than that. Like you have
Yes.
friends, families, and the things that you want to do, want to try. And like, it reminds me that you can expand your perspective on analyzing yourself and also reflecting yourself, not only just like based on the grades that you're getting, based on the I don't numbers to judge yourself. And I think if whenever like in the future, maybe I'm in my graduate program, I wanted to have that kind of reminder for me to, just don't stress about the numbers a lot and try to do more, expand more, and try the new things that I didn't experience before. So, yeah, that's kind of like my interpretation. And I love all of your thoughts and ideas, especially those like really holds a lot on you. And moving forward, I think museums, especially for a person who really loves to visit museums, I think museum is not like statics. They change, right?
Mhm.
Just like the collections and the exhibitions in the museums rotate every once in a while, and we have the power to select what stays on our walls, right? And so, if you could organize your museum today, what would you keep it in the gallery, or is there anything you wanted to throw away? Okay, I can.
Okay.
For me, I would say I would definitely keep those things like the sign for like number one and A plus mindset in, because I think, as I just like said, like this is a great reminder for me to reflect back, and also it's serve as a proof that I overcome a lot, right? And I overgrowth a lot, saying that I have like different perspective to understand life is not just only for academic, that specific narrow perspective, and you also can show this growth with other people who have the similar experience and also undergo the similar behavior patterns or struggle with this like mental health challenges, and also they have the same mindset, right? You can also share what you did like outside of that mindset to share with those people who have like or are in the process of experiencing that, so that they can maybe have like new ideas to step out of the current mindset. Yeah, how about you guys?
Mm, okay, so the thing that I shared, I feel like I really learned a lot from like this semester and that specific scenario in my life, that I like learned that I don't always have to be, it's okay to drop things when you can and when you're able to, because like there's things that you cannot really drop, but because it's like a commitment or something. But like um if you feel like, I don't know, like I just learned a lot from these experience. First, not taking two bios in one semester. And like not like knowing when to drop things, and like, yeah, and things that I want to like remove out of my failure museum is the main fact that what Andrea said, numbers are just numbers, and it wouldn't really affect my life skill. Like my grades define, the skills, like the my grades doesn't define me unless it's high. Kidding. But like my grades doesn't define who you are as a not my grades or your grades. Our grades doesn't define us for who we are. And I just want to remove the failure thinking of like, if I fail now, I would fail in the future.
I think for me, I want to keep my name tag still in the museum. Not as just like looking back on like regrets or anything, but just because this opportunity in general is a learning experience for me, and it continues to be a learning experience for me. Um, and just carrying those experiences with me on whatever next opportunity I get. Learning what worked for me, what I can improve on, and how to better myself as a person. And then something I want to remove that I didn't really touch on, but like I'm thinking about it like a few very specific experiences. I think I touched up a little bit on like recognizing how far your empathy can go for people. Um, and where that line is blurred, where you're not being empathetic to yourself and giving yourself grace and treating yourself like how you're treating people. Because a lesson I've learned is that not everyone has this. This sounds really heavy, but like not everyone has the same heart or like intentions as you. And for me, that was a learning experience, and it hit me really hard. Um, because I was like, I can never do that to someone, but they did that to me. So learning like when it is appropriate to let people go or just like create a very big distance, and not mistreating yourself for the sake of keeping certain people around. It's just very specific, but I was like, I can just get this off.
And we appreciate that, right? That's kind of like, I feel like if the listeners can relate to that, maybe they have like the feeling of relief, and they might have like other new ideas that how they can cope with this. How about you?
For me, the reason why I'm keeping this experience in my failure, or wait, I don't know if that,
Yeah, I think so. Huh?
What did I share?
How? What? Wait. What would you? What would you keep in, or like, what are the things you want to throw out?
Oh, so this is a different question.
Yes.
Oh, like why I want to keep them in.
Or do you want to throw it away?
I definitely do want to keep this experience. Just because it was like a learning opportunity. But what I would want to like throw away, I guess, is like the mindset, like the negative mindset I built around this experience, or just like the negative thoughts that I tell myself. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm not like fit for this photography class or something. Or especially like I was comparing myself to the other students who they were getting it really fast, and usually I do kind of pick up things pretty faster, like on the academic side. I think I just like push myself, like I don't know, it's like a personality thing. But then this one thing where it's like not academic related, and then I finally felt like, you know, that failure that like a lot of people tend to feel with stuff. And I was like, shoot, like maybe this is like my bad spot, like maybe art isn't my thing. And then I was like, shoot, I can't really do this, and like I'm actually struggling a lot. But so that like that negative mindset, those negative thoughts, I want to keep out of the museum. And what I want to keep in is kind of the way that I acted, because I had to, since I couldn't really rely on the professor to help, or the teacher at the time, because it was just like really busy and stuff. I think asking my peers for help was something new that I tried that I haven't done in the past, because I kind of like keep to myself, and I guess I almost take pride in like doing things or solving things on my own, because I'm like, I don't want to like ask for help or something. But the thing is, like, sometimes you actually do need that help, and you're gonna get better results if you rely on the people around you for support. So I definitely like had to ask. It kind of forced me to ask other students for help, and I didn't really want to, because I didn't want to admit that like I can't do this on my own. But they were super supportive, and because of that, like I want to keep that thing, that like aspect of this experience in my mind for sure.
Love that. That is so beautiful. It's like from every one of you, like the ideas. And I think to wrap up, like with the concept of museum, I think in the museum, the most valuable pieces are often the ones that have survived the most history, which means that the ones with cracks, the one with have been like restored a lot of times. This is like kind of how I picture or like interpret resilience is. It's like the act of having the courage to reflect on those the moments that we feel like deep or in the lowest moments in their life, and seeing them as part of our beauty. It's not like just, you know, broke or like we're a failure. And I really appreciate that you guys share all the reflections and personal experience with us and also with the audience and listeners. And of course, like everyone has their different life experience, right? And we want to respect that everyone's museum looks differently. And the point is not to compare our failures, right? It's honor the fact that we are still standing and still learning, and also we're willing to share it with others, which might be like an inspiration for others to outgrow that kind of things that they have and they hold for a long time. So before we close the door for our museum today, I want us to leave one note to self message for ourselves or for our listeners. I can go first. Mine would be, I want to encourage everyone and also including myself, to think that we are not defined by what we lost or where we failed, but by what we choose to keep and also how we choose to grow.
My note to self message is I forgot the quote. There's like a specific like phrase that people use, like failure is your biggest teacher or something like that. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think I'm like messing up the quote, but something like that. Like failure is the biggest teacher or something, because it really gives you a lot of like life lessons. I think a lot of people view failure as like a negative thing, of course, but I feel like it's also just it shows that you like pushed yourself to do something that maybe you're not good at, and that of course you can always like leave any failure with like a positive mindset too. So I think just like focusing on that is very important.
Mine is what you guys already said. Like I was about to say, if like failure is like you have like, ugh, why am I tweaking? Failure is you experience failure because it makes you a human being. Like I try to say that, like if you don't experience failure in life, you don't learn, and you don't like you're not aware of your surroundings and the like you're failing and stuff. So my note to self to people is every time you feel like you're failing or you're a failure, don't let that define who you are or who you will be in the future, and treat it as a growing path. Treat it as try to like see the positive point in the failure.
And then for me, something it's a note for myself as well. But it kind of does touch upon like the things I've talked about in this episode and in the previous episode. To just like to start, don't apologize or be so hard on yourself for being yourself. Like, in this experience that I've been thinking about, I was like, yes, I'm like very empathetic and very understanding and very caring. And I was apologizing to the other person because I was like, oh, I'm being too much of myself. But like, I'd rather have be so caring and so thoughtful and considerate than someone who isn't at all. But still like learning to recognize where boundaries are set, and like still respecting yourself and putting yourself first. So you're still taking care of yourself in that process. The alarm was lost from my train of thought.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Connect this to another point. What was it? Wait, I was gonna connect it.
My bad.
Oh.
What was the last point you mentioned?
It was like not apologizing for who you are, like in whatever situation. Okay, there we go. Because it also like connects with how long I've been processing these experiences that kind of go back to just one big experience. And I catch myself like almost being like constantly like negative talking to myself. I'm like, girl, it's been this amount of months, like you gotta get over it. But it's like that's so much easier said than done. And I think the fact that I've been grieving this and for the amount of time that I have been grieving or like processing this thing, I've learned that throughout different periods of time, it's always been a different mindset. Like at the beginning, it was very like, what's happening right now? Like, what is happening? Like, really, like, not understanding or not being able to, like, fully grasp the idea of, like, what that experience was. And then, like, another mindset, like, more recently, it's like, yes. No, see, it's, like, it's so negative because it's, like, that's so much time wasted. But I think I'm trying to really think about it, like, that was a really big learning experience that will help shape who the people are that you let in. And how quickly or how intimately, if that makes sense, like maybe not giving yourself all of yourself at the beginning and kind of letting it
Gently,
slowly, gradually
Mm-hmm.
let that happen.
Mhm.
And that also goes into like how you react after an experience, because I know for like
Mhm.
the experience I'm thinking about, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it was all full, like it was total shock. It was total shock.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't able to like, I kind of try to rush that healing or like process, and it's just that's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter how long it takes, no matter how big or small that experience was, um, give yourself grace and applaud yourself for where you're taking accountability and where you're learning to like be better prepared for next time if that were to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I hope that this episode you can learn a lot from this, and also make it as an opportunity for you to reflect back, like what are the things that is inside your museum, and maybe you can share it with the friends, and you can have a deeper conversation, and then you guys can support each other. And that's it for today. Thanks for walking through the museum with us today, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.